Hi, today I'm with Karen Durham, who teaches Shiatsu and Qi Gong online and face to face. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Nick.
Karen, you were telling me that your way of working with people is to help them to embody and collaborate with the kind of inner wisdom that emerges when you work with these things. And to do that, you've devised a sort of different approach to teaching Qigong, which has a few ingredients. So maybe we could start by just hearing a bit more about how you put those ingredients together to teach Qigong.
Yeah, so the class that I do is outside in a park, and there are four key elements to it. The first is stillness. So we always start with stillness, which is an initial check-in with self, so that you can be still and feel and see your own reflection. So it's informed by your own inner guide. Then there's the movement aspect, which is informed by Qi Gong, martial arts, yoga movements, and they are more personalized because you've done the check-in. And then there's the hands-on techniques, which the movements can be quite visceral, so you can be very in touch with your body, but also there's some self-shiatsu involved in there. And then the final part is the discussion, which is the sharing, initially in pairs and then within the group. And that is the expansive bit where, yeah, that's when the sharing actually creates an exponential understanding of your own movement and what you've got from it. And then, of course, all of that's wrapped up in a blanket of fun, because we don't want to be pious gurus here. We just want to enjoy what we do, so that actually we don't feel like we're doing work at all.
And of course, my interest is always in how the language and the embodiment can combine in creative ways and collaborative ways. Do you have a good example of how this sharing really helps in a Qigong class?
Yes, I do, Nick. Before I did this class, I did another very similar class involving Qigong and sharing. And in this class, this lady came in with this resistance to doing any kind of sharing of herself, which was quite a curveball, considering this class was all about embodying and sharing and collaborating with other people in a safe way. So there was a particular exercise where she was paired with this other lady, and the exercise was about sharing something of yourself and the other person simply listening. Then you swapped over, and then at the end of that you shared your experience of what it felt to simply listen and what it felt like to simply share. What was amazing about this is that the lady who had resistance was actually a really good listener. And that enabled this other lady to really open up with something very deep about herself. And it felt so good for her to be listened to, and she felt supported. But then, even more amazingly, it allowed this woman who initially had resistance to see the value that she had given this other lady in simply listening, and how that just opened her up to that possibility. It was quite amazing, and it allowed me to see the importance of sharing in the context of body work and discussion within a group.
Karen, what would you say it is about the Qigong that helps to create this sort of deeper quality of listening and being open to listen to others?
What happens is when you embody yourself, when you find your own ground, then you're more able to express and open up to the world and to other people. And something that a participant of this Qigong class said in terms of her process actually was, I quote, "I was able to see myself more. I feel more comfortable with me. I feel more relaxed. I can accept myself more, and then I feel I enjoy talking with other people. I mean, that expresses the whole process of self to others.
So, Karen, would it be okay to maybe give us an example? If you could talk us through something, and I can see what happens for me, and the people watching the video can participate if they like. How would that be?
Yeah, let's try that. So, yeah, to begin, if you want to, anything I say is just an invitation. There's no instruction or obligation to do anything. It's just an invitation and suggestion for you to do whatever feels right for you. So it's important I say that to start off with. And yeah, just find a comfortable position for yourself. And that can be standing, which potentially can allow more scope for movement, or sitting or lying down, whatever you feel comfortable with doing. And if you want, you can close your eyes, which allows you to come into yourself and find that place in yourself. And really connect with the ground. And ask, where is my ground? And feel the support of that. And where is your support? You may feel you want to move a bit just to find that ground or support. That's okay. And then notice your breath. There's no need to shape your breath. Just allow your breath to breathe itself, and where it enters the body, perhaps where it fills, the depth of your breath, the pace of your breath, the place of your breath in your body. And then scan your whole body, head to toes, inside and out, including your arms and your hands. And allow your attention to be drawn to one area of your body for whatever reason. Just go with your instinct, take your time, and allow your attention to be drawn to one area of your body for whatever reason. And when you find that place, to help connect with this area, you can place your hand on this part of your body. And you can ask this part of your body, how do you feel? It could be a color or a shape, a word, a sensation. How do you feel? Your hand is asking that question, much the same as a good friend may ask, that's completely present. So allow yourself to simply tune in with that feeling, image, sound. Perhaps notice if your breath changes or responds. Or if you move. And allow your hand to ask that part of you another question. What do you need? Is it stillness? Is it pressure? Is it movement? Allow your hand to really listen and tune in with what do you need, and allow that part of you to voice or move or respond to your hand. And even imagine yourself giving yourself what you need, and allow that to play out in your body right now. Perhaps your breath can go to that place. Perhaps your breath could even go to your place of ground that you found in the first place, and your awareness there. So that maybe you can imagine a string or a rope attaching where your hand is to your place of ground, and that there is a movement that comes from your place of ground and ripples up that rope to where your hand is. Perhaps allowing that connection through movement. So that you're moving from your place of ground to the place that you feel, the place that needs. And just explore that for a minute for yourself. And allow the movement to transform. And your hand may want to move from your body. That's okay. You might want to simulate that movement or your breath. Go with what you feel. And come to stillness. And integrate. And ask, how do you feel? And if it's different, if it's changed, or if it's the same, it's okay. And for the viewers, just allow that time to integrate, and maybe you can write down your experience, or you can do this experience with someone else and you can share. But for right here, right now, I'm here with Nick, so take some deep breaths before you open your eyes. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into the presence of where you are. And if you wish, if you want, you can share a part of your body, how you feel, what you needed, what your experience was, and perhaps what it feels like now.
And I'm noticing already I'm sort of transitioning from just pure felt sense to talking and connecting again through language. And that feels like I'm pulling myself a bit too fast. My body's telling me just stay with what the experience was there. And but so I went to a place which, familiar enough sense of stiffness in that side of my neck. And when you asked about the sense of how does it feel there, the first thing was a really kind of image sound of something really shrill, like a sound high pitched going right up into my head. But as I stayed with it, it changed completely, much deeper, much wider, more resonating. And then the second question was, what does it need? And I noticed you said, let your hand ask the question. It wasn't so much a conceptual question from my head, but I guess all of us who do shiatsu, that question makes sense. So let your hand ask the question. So it's a much more felt kind of a question. And what happened there was that actually another part of my body came in. It's like, look, what was needed was a connection down to the bottom of my right lung. Again, a familiar enough place for me, but another good thing about the experience, I guess, was just noticing the difference between if I might be doing that as an exercise on my own and what it was like to be doing it as, in the field of you and maybe anyone else who's potentially viewing this, that there was completely different dimension to it. And then as we came into the end, it feels a lot softer here now. And one other thing I noticed was as I withdrew my attention from down here, this bit went tight again. And that was the message. That was like the takeaway. It's like this bit is saying, if you don't remember to breathe down into that right side, then I'm going to get tight again. But the sense of it being recognized and it being understood that it wasn't the problem in itself, the symptom's never the problem. Yeah. And that there's this connection and as you say, kind of collaboration between different parts of the body. So I think I could say hand on heart, hand on neck. Those are all things I got out of just going through that with you. Yeah.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, it's really interesting to hear everything you're saying, that even that there's a collaboration within your own body between some familiar parts of your body, maybe familiar, but allowing yourself that freedom to explore it in a new way, with real listening and then real sharing within your own body, has allowed you now to share that. As you said, you found yourself being more aware that you didn't want to run away with your words so much, that in sharing that you could be more grounded.
And what happens when you open the sharing up, say in a Qi Gong class, so you're bringing people's awareness to there is actually a field between all of the people in the group, and what kind of sharing happens there?
So yeah, because it's very staged, it allows that gentle transition from self, ground, collaboration within self, to pairs. So the safety is still there, and then you're able to express. And what has happened when somebody shares their movement, and this is what happens in a group, the other person shares or mimics the movement you're doing. So they're embodying their listening to you, and they try your movement. And what can happen is two things. What happens when you share is, as soon as you vocalize your experience, sound has energy, as you know, so then it helps manifest, and then the feelings are out here. They're not just going around in your own head. They come out here and you can almost see what you're saying. I noticed that when I started teaching shiatsu, I learned so much more about my shiatsu practice when I started talking about it. But then what also happens is that the person listening can go, oh, I never thought about trying that way. And then they learn an alternative, a possibility that might work for them. And then it just opens this whole extra exponential growth between the two of you. And when you share that in the group, then everyone's coming up with different ideas of what can be helpful and what's useful. And then you feel validated that what you've suggested is great. So then there's value, understanding. being supported. It's a wonderful thing.
Do you find that bringing some Qi Gong, some kind of body work, some kind of breath work in, and that sense of grounding creates a deeper kind of safety from which the language can then emerge?
Yes, definitely, because when you come into your body, you can find that safe place in your body. You can also find that not so safe place, but it allows that connection between the two, an acceptance, like one of the participants said, they feel more comfortable with it, they feel more acceptance, and when they can accept themselves, then they can accept others, and it's from a much more balanced place. They also said they feel they can use their body and mind in a more balanced way. So this kind of class isn't just, oh, we come in the class and we learn these things and that's it. It's stuff that it then ripples out to the rest of your life and how you conduct yourself in the rest of your life. So that's the benefit. That's the takeaway from the class. It's not 1 hour a week of you-ness. It's 1 hour that catalyzes this greater understanding and learning and more purposeful way of thriving inside your own life.
Okay, thank you very much, Karen, for that beautiful demonstration. And of course, if you've been participating in this and you'd like to try one of Karen's Qigong classes online or in person, contact details are coming right up after this. Thanks again, Karen.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks for sharing.